It's after midnight and everybody's gone to bed. It's time for some midnight ops.
So my 4-3 cabinet is pretty much put together. The only thing that's left to do on it are little projects that I really don't have to take the cabinet apart for, and that's what I've been aiming for over the last few months. So normally I don't concentrate on any one project at a time. I'm a big ADD guy, so I have multiple projects going at the same time and rotate. But I really wanted to get this one quote unquote done. So I've really been focusing on it. So I'm happy that I'm kind of done with it, except for little projects. So in general, here is a look at the cabinet. So I just, pulled up one of the games I had on there just to have something on the screen. So this cabinet is essentially purpose built. The purpose for this cabinet is for it to run 4:3 aspect ratio games that were originally coin-op games. So for that, I made sure that I kept the bottom part here, because I want the coins. I want to put coins into these games. I don't want to hit a button or anything like that. Although you'll see here, I did add some buttons. So those buttons were added just to be able to navigate the big box. So I have an up, a down. They all look the same color, but the up is green, down is blue. The middle button is just white, and that's the enter button. And then over on the left, that red button there is the escape button. Just the escape out of the games, or for games that I have auto hotkey on. But basically those games like the confidential mission, things like that, I run those off auto hotkey, so exits out of those. And I will do a video. I'm going to do it with my daughter, who's 15, because she likes a few of these games. I thought it'd be interesting to have a younger person's perspective on it, as I'm pushing 50, and I was going to these arcades when these games come out. So that's the bottom there. And then upper cabinet here, you'll see I had the two Jolt guns. I still haven't put up the bezel or the glass because I'm still thinking about how I'm going to do that. Because I need to modify the bezel that came with it, because it would cover up the IR sensors. But I don't like just the openness there. But once again, it's a project that I don't have to actually take the machine apart or stop being able to play it to work on that. So inside, this is the pull-out panel where the computer is. You'll see in the upper left, I have some blocks there. That is the power for the recoil. I still haven't hooked the speakers up yet, so you see just the speakers just sitting there, or one of the speakers just sitting there. And then on the right, that's the JAMA harness coming in. The keyboard's kind of blocking where it's plugged in there, but that's the JAMA harness coming in. Another project I have is on the, let's pull back the upper cabinet. So on the Marquee, I'm eventually going to take the Marquee off. If it would have stayed Johnny Nero, I would have left it alone. But because it is a multi-cab, I do have widescreen TV. You can see it kind of over here on the left. That's a Marquee that I made for it. It'll fit in the same area as the Johnny Nero Action Hero. It's only about 6 inches taller than the actual Marquee. That Marquee that's on there now is one I made for Gogu 13, which I really like that game. A little closer look at it. That's just a Marquee I made just because. I kind of, because some of the games are a little different. I wanted to, you see the bottom there, I put in how many players it is, whether it has, because some of the games work with off-screen reload, some of the games work with the button reload. So I thought it'd be, especially for people who aren't playing them all the time, to know how you do a reload. So it'll either say button reload or like this one, no reload. And then just because I had more space there, I just wanted to put more information. So this one's emulated on MAME and it was released in '99. So I thought that just a little bit of info there. And because the Marquee that came with this was just terrible. It was like a generic weird thing. So that's just the first one I did there. Lower cabinet, upper cabinet. Okay. And so the speakers are underneath that Marquee. So once I go to replace the Marquee, I'll also work on doing something with the speakers. I don't know if I'll replace them there or maybe put them above the monitor, with that big open space that's there now, but it doesn't have to be determined, because even with the drawer closed, I can still hear the volume really well. This is the kind of the deck there a little bit, and also the front of the computer. Starting from the left, that is a USB hub. It's a powered USB hub. I was having some problems with my Gun4IR, and one of the things that might have been was because my USBs might have been losing power. So I got a powered USB hub, and my USBs and my iPack there are all plugged into that USB hub, which is, like I said, which is powered. And you kind of see a mess of wires there a little bit. I haven't finished straightening them all up yet, but you'll see, once again, starting from the left there, the USB hub, and then the two Arduinos for Gun 1, Gun 2, and then the iPack, which controls, the buttons and the coins and all that. And then you'll see two blocks there. Those are the grounds and the power for the lights. So that runs the power to the lights, as well as the buttons. But I didn't run the gun recoil solenoids off because every time I pull the trigger, the lights would flicker. So I didn't want to have strobe lights every time I pulled the trigger, where it dropped the voltage to the point where the lights turned off. So I changed that out and gave it a separate power supply. Just a quick look at the deck with the guns. I haven't finished putting the slide on Gun 2. And this is another project I need to do, because those gun holders they're made for the 45s that come with it. So I need to either make new ones or extend these out. And now I live in Arizona now that it's not 120 degrees. It's really nice weather. I can go out in my shop and look at either bending some metal up or welding something on there, depending upon how I want to do it. Haven't quite decided yet, but once again, that's another project that doesn't have to be done now. So yeah, this is pretty much done with the exception of those little projects. Another thing I'm going to do is on the lower cabinet, I'm going to, where the buttons are, I want to put maybe a backing plate, kind of like what you see there for the cables coming out of the cabinet for the guns. Maybe put some type of backing plate over the up, down, enter, and then also maybe behind the escape button. And obviously I need to fix kind of how the guns are being held in there right now. I just had some washers that would work and some zip ties, but I'll eventually get something a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, as well as getting some grommets to go in there so I don't chafe the wires. Right now they're protected because they're in some heat shrink. It doesn't look that great, but it is workable, and it does work. So I have a few projects, but nothing that's going to keep it from being usable. Like I said, I'll do a little review with my daughter over the games that are on there and some of her favorites and why they're her favorites. She's 15, I'm 47, so 31-year age difference there to kind of give a difference of opinion on this. Like I said, these games came out when I was a kid in the 80s, and some of them in the 90s when I was an actual adult. And she hasn't even heard of most of them, but she has fun playing them. So an interesting perspective. And then I'm going to move on to my other projects. I'll do a video on what those are coming up here. But otherwise, thank you for listening. I appreciate the subscriptions and taking a look at what I'm doing. Any questions about this or what I did or how I put it together, just leave a question in the comment section, and I will give you the best answer I can. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. Otherwise, see you on the next Midnight Ops.